Hi, this is Mariah Wicker and Cassie DW with KW here in Plymouth.
Welcome to Selling the South Shore, Real Estate in Real Life.
Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or live like a local, we've got you covered. Let's dive into today's topic.
A big topic around the world right now, affordability.
Yeah.
We're seeing decisions being made lately that I feel like I didn't see in my first few years in the business. And really like losing out on properties or just making a decision to not move forward based on, which I don't want to say $10,000 to $20,000 isn't a lot of money, but in the scheme of real estate, it's really not a huge amount, and we're seeing some pretty big decisions.
Yeah, you usually will see when you have a gap that needs to be filled on pricing between a buyer and a seller, that over the course of maybe 1 or 2 rounds of negotiations, you'll come to terms where everyone feels comfortable moving forward. What we saw a lot happen over the fall and over the winter is what I was starting to call like the no man's land of the market, where there was both sides were coming to a point and then they were not coming to an agreement. And it was over, again, $10,000, $20,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, or to us doesn't seem like a lot of money because it's usually being stretched out over 30 years, but it really was pushing buyers past an already uncomfortable level of affordability. So for sellers, we really want you to kind of think about when you're pricing your home, we understand that the comps may support this number. However, rates have really not cooperated, and a lot of inflation in the other areas of our lives have started to catch up. Like you go on a Town Locals page, my insurance rate is up. Who can recommend me a insurance agent?
Property taxes.
My property taxes.
Groceries,
my electric bill.
Yeah. Gas. I don't even want to get into natural gas. We have natural gas. You heard about the rates we're about to get very soon? Not good.
I don't pay attention. I just put my blinders on and get through the day.
Yeah.
But like even some of our more affluent local towns are doing, overrides of their budget and cutting their fire department. So some of the financial detriment of COVID has started to catch up. And once you raise prices, there's really no dialing it back. You're not going to see the prices of eggs drop lower. You're not going to see the prices of milk drop lower. Once they're there, that's what the new number is. There's some fluctuation, but people are feeling it in their pockets everywhere. And that's what I think is then making people have a hard time making decisions on buying a home, even though that margin used to not be a big deal. We're seeing deals die over this very small margins. All right, so like as a seller, what perspective should I have on what it's going to cost my buyer to buy my house, regardless of what maybe the comps are saying, especially because we don't have a ton of comps over the fall market. Rates were almost a whole % lower in the fall. What perception, and again, just keeping in mind that cost of everything has now finally caught up, like owning a home and then putting food on the table. What does a monthly payment look like for your typical first-time buyer? Let's say I want to buy $550,000. I'm going to put not the minimum down, but I'm going to put a very low down payment, like 5%, based on today's taxes, insurance, and interest. What's my mortgage going to look like on a starter home?
Yeah, so that we're looking at around $4,300 a month for, like you said, your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance for $550,000 purchase price.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a pretty substantial mortgage payment. And I know me buying in 2022, not that long ago, I'm sitting a little bit over $3,000 a month that I pay. And my house was $450,000. So, it's a big difference.
Then you kind of, unfortunately, you kind of go around on this hamster wheel is, okay, but do I really want to go rent at the Kingston Mall a studio for $3,000? So at the end of the day, you kind of end up circling back to home ownership is the way to go. But I think that's what, as agents, we're seeing. If sellers are like, why is my home selling? It's really expensive for a buyer to buy your home right now, unless they are cash or they have significant equity in a home that they're selling that they can put 20% down. Excuse me. Baby problems.
Yep. Everything's baby. I'm so excited to see what's the excuse going to be after baby.
That there's just like there's this gap in affordability, and it's not the seller's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, then from the buyer's perspective, buyers have to understand that regardless of the fact that things are expensive, the sellers may still be able to get that price.
Yeah.
Whether they wait until the spring market or for the right buyer to come along, usually after about 2 weeks, like we've already said, price is the only thing that you can really change.
Yep. Well, especially it was crazy looking into the data when we did our year in review, seeing that even when the price dropped, it typically sold at or above that price drop.
Right.
We didn't really see that sale to list price ratio below 100% after a price drop.
Right.
So, and we've even seen ourselves like multiple offers after price drops, or it's been sitting on the market for 60 days and now, you find your right two people and you have a multiple. Yeah. And I think it's just on both sides, it's so hard because I feel like on sellers have just seen this affluent market for the past few years. They're like, we can get over ask, we can get everything we want. And even if financially they're about to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and really what is at that point 10,000, kind of the same on the buyer side.
Probably more money than they ever planned to. They would have sold
more.
That for.
Oh yeah, more money than ever. But they saw it happen in the past, so they're putting their foot down. And it's they really have a hard time understanding why now. Like if somebody was willing to pay that price a year ago, I thought homes appreciate. Why can't I get that price now? But I think something huge that you've talked about, which honestly, I don't like, never even really clicked until you were just talking about it, but that affordability of everything else in our life, things are so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to the grocery store, I bought like 1 or 2 dinners and then snacks for Quinn, and I'm like $150 at Market Basket.
Right.
We would buy food for 2 weeks and would never spend over $100 at Market Basket. And it's so...
Derek spent $90 at McDonald's this week because he took Miles for breakfast 3 days during the week and then took them all after soccer practice one night. And like, you spent $90 at McDonald's. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, just because we have a memory of what prices were not too long ago. And like I kind of was saying before, like you go out to eat, you get the bill and you're like, oh God, like this has got expensive. You just now make an adjustment that, okay, maybe I'm not going to eat out as much, or I'm not going to get drive-through coffee as much. There's no opportunity to do that once you've already bought a home. So what is happening is buyers are then getting those rundowns from their lender. And they're like, I can't.
Yep. Pump the brakes
here.
Yeah. And we totally get it. Like, as you know what I mean? Like we have families and bills, and you can see that happen. And then there's also the people that you can see could potentially maybe bridge that gap. But there is just some I know we're
I'm
like
so sorry.
I can't talk. You're sleeping. There's like some very hard, like you said, no man's land right now where both sides are really feeling like hard stop without meeting in the middle.
The sad part is if I had to pick who's right, it's the sellers. Because we're going to see as these homes either come off and relist, they're more likely to get their number that they want than the buyer is to get the price they want over time. Even though right now there's this kind of discrepancy, I do think in the end the sellers are the ones that win. And we had a situation where a buyer put in an offer on a home, ultimately then decided it was out of her budget and backed out. And then come to find out the property ended up selling for like $30,000 more than what she perceived was too expensive. And for her, it may have been.
Yeah.
However, long term, that clearly would have been a good investment.
Yeah.
Because even if 6 months down the road she found that it was too tight on her all-in budget, she could have profited $40,000 in 6 months.
Instantly, yeah.
So because we know that, again, appreciation is going to happen and the spring market's coming. So
it's and there's a really fine line. Like sometimes people's budget, and something that we have learned, I feel like a lot. Last year was a trying year for so many people, like everywhere in life, but especially in real estate. It was one of the hardest years in recent history countrywide.
Mhm.
And we noticed going through this is when our clients fully buy into us in the process and letting us know, like, we need to know, what is your end goal? What is more important?
Right.
What is that final line budget that is going to make life too unaffordable for you? When we know all the pieces and we can help you make the decisions,
Right.
because I don't know, especially, like, I love math. I love looking at numbers. It's just like a fun thing. And then like, you are just a like market savant with like knowing what's going on. So
But it's helpful for us to like walk a mile in our client's shoes and understand, like, you know, again, we just had someone share with us that they were dealing with some things personal in their family. It now makes total sense why they were making decisions the way they were based on what they thought were potential possibilities for them down the road. But if we don't know that, we have to also, like, again, walk a mile in their shoes and understand their budget. And then again, sometimes it's helpful to have someone that's walking a mile in your shoes, but that's out of the picture, because again, how many times you see people not buy over, again, this no man's land, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 difference, but then rent for 6 more months at $3,000 a month, and after 6 months they've spent $18,000 in rent. And that house is now worth $20,000 more. So it's almost like now you're out almost $40,000 if you figure the spread on both ends.
No, definitely. So it's a hard time, and especially talking with your real estate agents about like finances. I feel like, you know, some people, even I have a hard time talking with people about my finances.
Totally.
I don't want anyone, but
we're all, you know, in the same boat.
Yep. Shit's expensive. Life is hard. But there are deals to be made in real estate, and something that we've learned, especially in this business, is the power real estate can bring for your family in the future. Another plug, which we've heard about investment, like the DSCR loans before. I truly didn't know, though, that they didn't look into your personal income. It is truly just about the property. So if you have decent credit and you have money for a down payment, you can go out there and get an investment property tomorrow.
Do you know what I call those loans?
What?
Drug dealer loans.
Drug dealer loans. Literally, that's it. They look at rental income possibility and they look at your credit, and that's it. And so I have clients right now, they just bought their first home, thought like they wouldn't be able to redo the process again, because then, you know what I mean? Now their debt to income ratio is that much bigger, and debt to income ratio doesn't matter at all. They look at your credit score and all that. So
I guess a better term would be like, if you have student loans.
Yes, if you have student hello. So, but something big for me, like Amy and I always thought, we're like, I have to pay off. We have like $300,000 in student loans. So we're like, we have to pay that off. So now I'm like being like, okay, how many houses do I have to sell next year? Because I want nothing more than to get into real estate investing. And because I know, like, in this struggle of how unaffordable life is, one way to build something special for our family is
do real estate.
So that's what these clients did. And actually it was funny. He was like, yes, like, tell me a reason not to do this. Like, why should I not? Like, tell me. It's like, this seems crazy that I could just get this loan and make this money. Like, why should I not do this? And I'm like, I can't tell you. And he's like, well, why don't you have an investment? And I'm like, I am so in debt with my stuff. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, but wait a minute, that doesn't matter with the DSCR loan. Like, we just need to get our down payment. So that's going to be, Amy and I are going to be talking with a lender shortly to really try to button up those numbers.
And you really just got to save the down payment.
So that's, really just wanted to come on here and talk about that affordability, and sometimes that like no man's land, seeing these gaps.
Sellers have some perspective on what the buyer's going through financially. Buyers also need to just accept the fact, I hate to say it, that it is what it is. And you're not only...
I'll show a picture from earlier.
You're not only investing, but if it's your primary residence and your alternative right now is renting, you need to live. It's like we all hate the cost of food, But
You
you
still
still
go to the
have to go to
grocery
the grocery
store.
store.
Yep.
You still need a place to live. And if you are making lifestyle choices, you really got to be honest with yourself. Like,
Yeah.
am I okay with living in mom and dad's basement or in a rental property so that I can go to Starbucks? You have to, like, someone has to smack you across the face.
That might be good.
You know, like,
some people.
And
but
we all need that sometimes. Like today, my husband, I was like, $90 at Walmart? Are you out of your mind? Like,
yeah,
mama needs a pedicure. Come on. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah. And another thing that we have, which we can definitely drop, if anyone wants to comment, we have a whole buyer resource where a spreadsheet where you can look at your finances and really see that. Because sometimes maybe that extra $100 a month is the difference between getting a house or not.
And maybe your kids signed up for, like, Ryan's mystery subscription on Amazon because they're flipping with the remote and they just subscribe to whatever. And then you're going through your bills and you're like, what the hell is this $13 thing I'm paying for a month for Ryan's via Amazon?
We just went through ours, and I think we're saving like $120 a month right now for stuff that we really did not need, all like subscription based. Like Audible, I'm sorry, I've gotten like 3 maybe audiobooks. I've had it for the last like 6 years.
I was paying $100 a year for a hiking trail app that I signed up for during COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, there's so many things. So if it's a hard no, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Let's find you the house that you can't afford. But
never miss a home over $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000 without taking a deep dive into your budget and seeing if first you should remove one pizza night or one app or one subscription.
Yeah.
It's probably there.
Yep. So cool. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff for wonderful tips, tricks, and advice from yours truly, if I could speak. And we'll see you next week.